Good morning, everybody. It is Monday, April 20th, and we are working in section 823. This is a 2-day lesson, so we're going to take 3 days to go over it. And we're going to start with a quick review of those properties of exponents. So if we look at a problem like this, I just want to refresh your memories on what this really means. Directly next to the x is the exponent of 3. Directly next to the y is the exponent of 4. So if we were going to write this in factored form, we would write x times x times x for x to the third, and y for y to the fourth. If we have x times y squared, a lot of kids are making the error thinking that it's xy that is being squared. Just because we don't write in the exponent on the x doesn't mean that it's not there. But when there's only one factor of x, we tend not to put the exponent. So this problem should actually read x times y squared. The squared is only on the y. If we want the whole thing to be squared, then we need to put it in parentheses. Here, the squared is on the parentheses, so that means everything in the parentheses is going to be multiplied by itself twice. So we can write xy times xy. If we want to change that order, we can put the x's together and the y's together. And then we could actually rewrite this x squared y squared if we wanted to simplify it. Okay, hopefully that will clear up some problems that kids were having on the homework. Okay, now we're going to start getting into negative exponents. If you look at the table on the screen, and we're going to focus on just this first column to begin with, you'll notice that it goes from 10 to the fourth to 10 to the third, 10 to the second, 10 to the first, 10 to the 0. The exponent continues to go down by 1 each time, which takes us down into negative exponents. Now, if we're going to look at what that actually means, 10 to the fourth is 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. If you figure that out, you get 10,000. 10 to the third, 10 times 10 times 10 is 1,000. 10 times 10 is 100. 10 to the first is just 10. Now, we want to look at some specific patterns here. If you notice, to go from 10,000 to 1,000, we can actually divide by 10. And to go from 1,000 to 100, you divide by 10. So each time we want to go to the exponent before, or we go to our next column, we're going to continue to always divide by 10. So if we continue to divide by 10 all the way down, let's look at what happens to our values. 10 divided by 10 is equal to 1. 1 divided by 10 is 1/10. Or we could say 0.1, which is still 1/10. Divide by 10 again, we get 1/100th, which is 0.01, 1/100th. And again, divide by 10, and we get 1 over 1,000, or 0.0011. 1,000th. Now, we can go back here and let's write it in factored form and see what's going on. So 10 to the 0 is equal in this pattern to the number 1. And that doesn't seem to make sense to a lot of kids right away until we think about it a little bit more. How many factors of 10 are in 10 to the third? 3. How many factors of 10 are in 10 squared? 2. 10 to the first has 1 factor of 10. How many factors of 10 are there in 10 to the power of 0? Well, there are no factors of 10. But what is a factor of every single number that there is? 1. We don't bother writing 1 as a factor, but it is still a factor of every number. So anytime you have a number to the power of 0, you always get that factor of 1. If we wanted to, we could put down that factor of 1 to start with every time. Now we have 10 to the negative 1, and if we look over here, we see that that's worth 1/10. Basically, it's 10, but instead of multiplying by 1, we've actually done the reciprocal, we've divided by 10. 1 over 100 is the same as 1 over 10 squared. Or we could write 1 over 10 times 10. And then same thing happens for 10 to the negative 3. We have 1 over 10 to the third. And my cursor is running off the screen. Or we could say 1 over 10 times 10 times 10.